All right, it's time for Yogi and the BEACHMAN. Hi, I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm Rick Beach, the Beach Man.
We're two Michigan transplants now living in Southwest Florida.
In fact, we're cousins born in 1964, just a month apart.
I like to meditate.
And I like to play bass in a band.
I'm into chanting Om.
And I'm into throwing down some classic rock.
But together, we're on a mission
to promote people that are helping other people.
We want to make the world a better place.
One conversation at a time.
So sit back,
turn up the volume,
and get ready to laugh.
Because we like to have fun
while we spread the love.
Interviewing lovely people. Yes, we have fun.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do you have school today?
No, we've had 2 snow days in a row.
Have you?
Yeah.
My
we
grandkids.
have like,
Go ahead.
We have like 2 feet.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's pretty deep.
That's a lot. Yeah. You're in Harbor Springs or Petoskey?
Petoskey.
Oh, you're in. Okay. All right.
Rock and roll.
Did you guys get any snow? Did you guys get any snow?
No, we're in southern Florida. Northern Florida did get some. I saw a friend that sent me a picture today with their someone in their family who was out on the beach with snow and palm trees in the background. It just looked crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Although it is cold here today, it was in the 40s this morning, and it's probably still there now.
Yeah, it's really cold for Florida.
And that's for you is warm. For us, it's like an Arctic blast.
Yeah, 40 degrees is like late spring for us.
Yeah, right.
And then summer it gets up in the 80s.
Oh yeah, we're from Michigan originally, so I'm even representing. I got my Michigan shirt on today.
And I just took off my Detroit Red Wings jacket, so.
Welcome back to Yogi and the BEACHMAN. Today we have a special guest for you. We're super excited about it. Amelie Anastasia, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Is an 11-year-old author, a philanthropist, and a podcaster at 11 years old. This is incredible. Welcome to the show, Amelie. I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm Rick, the Beach Man, but you can call me Rick.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
Oh, it's our pleasure, believe me. And you've been a bit of a world traveler lately, at least throughout the country, promoting your book.
Yes.
And
I went to several amazing places. Like, we went to New York twice, actually. Once we were actually pretty close to the city one time, and then for the rest of the time we were in Buffalo, and then we had a lot of appearances in a lot of different states.
That is so cool.
Were you doing mainly radio or TV? What were you doing?
I was doing the TV channels.
Really? So being 11 years old, walking onto a TV channel set, I mean, was that kind of intimidating, or you just kind of roll with it? And
I guess it's more of like the cameras just disappear when you start talking.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to feel about it.
Yeah. So you're not just an author of one book. You've got 3 books out now, right? Yeah. How did you get started? I mean, what made you want to write a book?
Well, it's actually a pretty cool background story, but it actually started with 2 foxes. A vixen, which is a female older fox, and then a male fox. And we had no idea. We thought maybe they're brother and sister, maybe they're mates. We didn't really know what they were relative-wise.
These were in your yard, or?
Yeah, they were, sorry, I forgot to mention, they made a burrow like somewhere very close to our house, because every time they went hunting or something, they would do it like in our backyard. And so we got to see them a lot because there were a lot of bunnies and chipmunks and squirrels around us. And so, yeah. But one day we realized that we hadn't seen them for like a month. And then I think it was sometime in the fall, one day, the vixen came out of this little bush area kind of next to the edge of the forest that we live next to. And then we saw another fox come out, smaller than usual. And we thought, oh, it's getting to fall time. Food's kind of a little scarce since everybody's kind of hiding, getting ready for winter. The male might have gotten skinnier, female might have gotten skinnier. It might just be smaller. And then another little fox came out, and another. And then
Oh.
we realized that the vixen had had 3 kids.
Oh, how cool. So you got a little fox family living in your yard.
Yeah. And
That's
so,
special.
yeah, thanks. And so I decided that I wanted to show the world.
Very cool. So you wrote about them.
Well,
Okay.
kind of about them. It's like their souls are of the characters, but it's a little different, I guess.
So was this a kid's book or who was this geared to?
Yeah, well, it at first was a children's book, but later we realized that really everybody enjoyed it.
Oh, that's cool. How many pages?
I can check. I
Yeah, let's
have my
see it.
books right here.
Yeah, let's check it
I
out.
have my book. This is my first book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's Foxtails.
Who did the
Me.
illustrating?
Her name is Sevdalina, and she is a Bulgarian artist. She's very kind, and 65 pages in total, and
Wow, that's
she
cool.
makes, thanks, she makes her own eco-friendly water paints at home.
Oh, very cool.
So that was along the line of your kind of your theme. Is that what that?
Yeah.
Give us the quick, if you know what's the
Like the
What was
overview of the story.
yeah, the overview. Well, Cliff's Notes version, if you know what that is.
Um, like of the books or
Yeah,
Mhm.
of the one Fox
Okay.
book.
well, the first one is actually it focuses on the friendship of the first 2 characters, Naya and Hazel, and how they come together, they meet, they're both in a bit of a sticky situation, and they help each other out, thinking that they'll help, and then they can go about their days not thinking about each other anymore. But they end up being family.
Hmm. Sounds like there's a good story. I can see why adults would resonate with that because it's a good story at any age.
Yeah.
And, and then you wrote Foxtails too.
hmm
Where does that go in
Um,
that story?
Is it like the sequel?
yeah, it's the sequel to Foxtails 1 because we wrote it. So the reason that Foxtails 2 exists is because after we wrote Foxtails 1, it was high on demand. People really liked it, and I was very happy about that. And their comments, the people who read it, was that they loved the story, but it was a little long for a bedtime story and left the younger readers in suspense because they couldn't stay up to finish it. And so I wrote my second story, Foxtails 2, a bit of a shorter version. And this book has what pages does Foxtails 2 have? Oh dear. 49 pages. So a little
Okay.
less and a little quicker.
Yeah. Now, how does the story compare to the first book? What
I
direction?
think that the story is a little bit more upbeat, honestly. The first story kind of went from thing to thing slowly. But I think that after I wrote the first thing, I kind of developed a bit of a writer sense. And then Foxtails 2 is my favorite out of the 3 books that I wrote because it gives such a small, like, it gives more suspense, but you don't have to stop. And so the really roundup of that is it's when Naya and Hazel, the first 2 foxes that I wrote about in Foxtails 1, well, after they become family, one of their younger siblings, Fern, has a little adventure of herself. And It's honestly very wild and hard to explain, but I think that I think that in the end, Fern has her own big life change when she realizes that the world is bigger than her den.
Ooh, yeah. That's kind of a lesson that I think all of us go through at some point when
Yeah.
we learn about the world's a little bit bigger than our house or a little bit bigger than our city or our state. So
Yeah.
good lesson there.
And then this is my last book, Wolf Tales. I also enjoyed writing this a lot. One of my favorite pictures I've ever taken is on the back too, of me and a golden retriever pup. So cute. But
Nice.
this is about back to Nia and Hazel, of course, how they have a bit of an adventure with a couple of wolves. Now, I didn't mention that in Foxtails 1, in part 2 of Foxtails 1, there the first two fox kits, Naya and Hazel, have a bit of a run-in with a pack of wolves. Now, they're trying to save one of their younger siblings in this part, and the wolves stand between them and getting home. And so you can imagine how that would lead to territorial wolf senses in the future. And now those were the adults of the pack trying to find some food to bring home to their kits. And then in Wolf Tales, they actually meet the wolf pups from the from the from the first book. But the wolf pups weren't in the first book. Only their parents were. And when Nia and Hazel find out that their parents are the ones who tried to eat their younger siblings, they are not happy. They pull some pranks, they have some fun, forced humor, and they end up becoming really good friends in the end. So, yeah.
So the foxes and the wolves end up being buddies.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. What's this like to be? I mean, you don't know anything other than being 11 years old, but having the success, what's it like having written 3 books and having such good reception?
I guess I just want to live a good life and be able to think that's just my life now. I
So do
get
you
to I get to do things that make me feel good, and I think I can help other people feel good by doing them. Yeah.
so do you want to continue in this career path? I mean, at 11, have you decided you want to be an author?
Well, I'm still having some mixed feelings about what I should be when I grow up, but I still have a lot of time to think. And right now, really all of my pointers are pointing to author.
Mhm.
Because you're very articulate, much more so than I expected for an 11-year-old, frankly.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, you seem a little like I wasn't looking at you, I would think you were probably 16 or 17 just from talking to you. Yeah,
Thank you.
you talk with a much more uh, pronounced. I don't know. You just have
Some authority.
yeah, some authority there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
Thank
word.
you.
Yeah. And so you're not just an author, you're also, as we mentioned, a philanthropist. So,
Yes, I've always loved putting hard work into a greater cause and trying to help people make the world a better place, trying to make it a better place on my own, whether I have a different cause to support or 10 different causes to support. And I love it.
yeah, and you've done some, I was looking over your website. You've done some pretty amazing things. You raised as a 10-year-old $9,000 for the Little Traverse Bay Humane Society.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment for
Thank you.
anybody, let alone an 11-year-old.
And one of my favorite, most of my charitable contributions go to those type of exec animal welfare league dogs. I'm a sucker for dogs. Obviously, you
Me
like
too.
dogs with that photo on the back. I have a 6-pound Yorkie at home. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've got one right here.
What's his name?
This is Rael. He's a young wolf pup mix. I like to pretend sometimes that he's a husky, sometimes he's a wolf pup, so he's a mixed breed, I guess.
Yeah,
And
That's
then
cool.
very cool.
and then right downstairs, we've got a mix between, and get ready to laugh, a pug and a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Oh, really?
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
that was
pretty
a big
cool, though.
oopsie.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be full red pug because we wanted a dog that couldn't really bite because their snouts are just so short they can't really get to you. And we got 50% pug, 50% Bernese, and we love him, but he is crazy. He is insane. He is crazy.
Yeah. So you have a very deep passion for animals, for what I'm understanding, what I've heard from your mom, what I've heard from your website. Um,
Yeah.
where does that come from? Just being around the foxes, or? And I know you were talking about creating a preserve, raising enough
Yeah.
money to create a preserve for these animals. I'd really love you to share more on that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, where did I get my love for animals? I guess right now, humans and everybody on this planet isn't showing enough respect for animals. I mean, global warming, it's destroying forests and taking the homes of animals, the direct result of too much livestock farming. And so many people just have to get that picture of feeding a pack of Doritos to a crocodile. And I want to make a change on that. And the preserve, it's called the Happy Place. And I hope that's what it's going to be. A happy place.
Yeah.
So is this is just like your long-term goal? Is that what's going on here that you want to create this?
Yeah.
So you manifesting this like by drawing it out and little maps on how it's going to look and stuff like that?
Well, actually, I'm not quite sure about what's going to happen with the animals or the landscaping. We're just, once we have the budget to create it, we are going to try our best to make it the perfect place, know everything we need to know.
I went to Utah probably about 10 years ago on a trip, and I was walking around town here before we had in Florida, and I can't remember, but I just met somebody that was from out there by just kind of a fluke, and she says, "Well, you have to check out this place," and I can't remember what city it's in. I'll think of it, but it's in Southwest Utah, and it's called Best Friends Animal Shelter. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but I still send them money and donate because what they do, they're a non-kill shelter, but it's on this huge area, like hundreds of acres in a canyon in Utah. So the scenery is just spectacular. And the way they set it up, they had a horse area where they had 10 or 15 horses that were going to be euthanized because they had injured or whatever, and everybody's volunteers and they just nurse these guys back to health. They had a whole cat house, Jim. I'm not kidding you, bigger than this house, with just
Wow.
cats and ladders and stuff. They had a dog area, which was my favorite one, which didn't have so many climbing toys, but they had all kinds of just lots of area. And it was really cool to see that, to think that someone had this vision at one point, and it started off with like this little shack in this canyon, and it has since then burgeoned into, they take dogs and cats from all over the country that are going to be euthanized for one reason or another. I don't know if you remember, but you may have heard of it. There was a football player in the NFL named Michael Vick, and he had got caught and in trouble for having a dog fighting ring. So at the time, it was a huge story, and this guy was ostracized because of his having this. Obviously, it's terrible. But uh, but while I was there, they had many of these dogs, and most of them were pit bulls. And they said the difference in the change of what these dogs came in as, which were vicious attack animals, to what they had been turned into. that these dogs can be changed and the behavior can be fixed.
Hmm.
And to think that they've saved all these animals from being euthanized really just made me feel good. And like I said, I still donate to them. They had a uh, parakeets, I mean, birds and parrots and pigs. It didn't
Nice.
matter. It was just really, really interesting. So check that out if you want to see something cool. Best Friends Animal Shelter in Utah, and I think the city starts with a P if I'm not mistaken.
I
It's
will.
just north of the Grand Canyon North Rim. So but it's right up there somewhere. It's really neat.
Oh. Oh, well, that's interesting because actually it's always been my dream to go to the Grand Canyon, and that was actually an essay that I wrote. I wrote an essay at school about it, and it actually got turned into a piece of a book. And then I got everybody in my class chose a national park to write about, and I chose the Grand Canyon. And that was the report we had to write about. We made a class book, and you can people used to be able to buy the book. It was like a month or something. The book was available, and so I got a couple of passes to the Grand Canyon, and they last like forever.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, maybe if we go there on a vacation, we'll check it out.
Yeah, it's I've been
Sorry.
a I,
Sorry
I'm not.
about that.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not a world traveler or anything, but I have been around the country, and
Yeah.
that's the place I keep going back to. I've been to the Grand Canyon at least 4 or 5 times. The last time I went there, I did a 7 mile hike. We went 3/4 of the way down and back up.
That's
I
cool.
wouldn't recommend that unless you really train for it ahead of time because it's a pretty physical day. But I think it's the most amazing place. It is the most amazing place I've ever been to. So yeah, when you get that chance, definitely make that happen. What other kind of places you want to go to and maybe write about?
I have always wanted to see Arch Rock. I know nothing about it, but I have seen pictures of it. I know, and I've heard how amazing it is. I've never been there though, so I hope that someday I get to see Arch Rock.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Isn't that's also in Utah, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's one trip.
No,
You can
both
take
of
in
us.
a couple of amazing national parks in southern Utah
Hmm.
and make it to the best ones, Friends Animal Shelter and the North Rim of the Grand Canyon all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've always wanted to be to Texas. I don't know. I used to want to live there. I have no idea why. I mean, after that phase where I wanted to live there was over, I thought, why did I think that? I'm from Michigan. I would burn there. And so, yeah, but anyway,
I
I
spent a
just
year outside of Dallas a few years ago. It's not all that.
yeah, I've heard, but I just still when I was little, like 2 years old, if anything was above room temperature, this is what my face would make as a baby. I don't know. I just my mom had to like put things in the fridge for a couple of minutes if she warmed them up in the microwave. That's how sensitive I am to heat. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So you
It'll be a
don't.
place for you to visit, but not live
So
for
you
sure.
wouldn't do well down here in South Florida where it's 100 degrees 9 months of the year.
Oh no, I would burn. I would burn. I would be a pile of ashes.
So I got a question. Has the work that you've been doing inspiring other kids like yourself to write or create?
Yeah, I on my podcast actually, What's Up Young Authors, that's me promoting other young kids who have stories like me, and I also promote mentor authors that I find inspiring, and so yeah.
Say that again. What's the name of your podcast?
What's Up Young Authors?
How often do you air podcast episodes?
Huh?
How often do you air podcast episodes?
Oh, we can't really control when we do them because we have to be very open to everybody's schedules.
Mm-hmm.
We can only do them every other week though, if they
Yeah.
do.
Well, that's a pretty good amount. I mean, just to find young authors has to be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Do you like being a podcast host?
Yes. I like doing my intros and I like meeting new people. I'm a people person. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. What's your intro like?
I think usually I say, "What's up, young authors?" and then do a little, "I'm your host, Amelie Anastasia Kershik, and I'm also author of 3 children's books, Foxtails, Foxtails 2, and Wolf Tales. I'm here with," and then I introduce our young writer or mentor writer, and I say, "Welcome to the show." And I ask a question like, "What does it feel like to have written this amazing piece of literature?" And then they can answer however they'd like, and we go from there.
I love that. Do you get a chance to read their work before you have them on your show?
Sometimes. Sometimes it's pretty tight scheduled, and I read it somewhat like I read the important parts, like dedications, and the main part, the body of the story. I don't know if that makes sense, but like the
Mm-hmm.
the lesson, I guess. And
Yes.
then, yeah.
Excellent.
So what's next on your literary agenda?
Well, if you haven't heard, Shelter Dogs, which we are currently writing, is hopefully going to be out somewhat either in very early 2026 or or a bit later in 2025.
And that book's going to be called Shelter Dogs.
Yes,
Do you have a
Shelter
premise
Dogs.
for that yet? Have you started it?
Oh yeah, we've started the book. We've actually, you mentioned that I raised $9,000 for the Humane Society. That was
Mm-hmm.
off auctioning names in my book. So like I went up on stage, gave a speech, and we thought we'd raise about 3,000. And I said that I was going to let 3 people, well, 3 families, and 2 people buy a couple of names in my books. And so we auctioned off some names. The people who bought them took our information and sent us stories of their pets, and then we incorporated them.
What a great idea. Who came up with that?
Yeah, okay. That's a cool little marketing ploy you
Yeah.
had there. Angle I wouldn't have even thought of.
Actually, one of the people at the shelter, Carol, she helped me come up with the idea. We kind of toyed with it together, but yeah,
So do you
it was pretty
volunteer
fun.
there also? I mean,
No, I'm not old enough. I would have been volunteering for years, but
how
I'm not old enough.
I have a real hard time going to an animal shelter because
Yeah,
it
me too.
emotionally affects me.
Yeah, and it also physically affects me because I'm allergic to cats.
Mm.
But but um yeah, it's very sad sometimes when I walk by the dogs and I just see them just scratching at the doors, or sometimes I see a dog just sitting there in the bed just looking so hopeless and I just feel so sad.
It is
Yeah,
sad,
it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but
But
not a lot of us do anything about that. But you have taken action, and you certainly should be proud of yourself there.
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
So we started the show with talking about some of your radio and television spots that you've been doing across the country. You want to tell us more about those or any specific ones that really stand out to you?
Yeah, you got any cool
Yeah.
TV stories?
Yeah. I think it was my first spot on the tour, New York. And I met some of our best family friends there. We met Lisa Winslow, whose son is Scotty Winslow, and her husband Scott. And then she's the author of A Dog and His Boy. It's a touching story, actually. It's amazing. And then I also got to meet Craig Melvin, which is really nice. He he's
Is
just he's just really nice to everybody.
He's also an author.
Yeah.
So are these folks that you've read to take inspiration from? I mean, I don't want to sound too cheesy as far as these questions, but when you meet these folks, I mean, in order to become a fan of somebody, you really have to kind of appreciate their work. So is that how you got in touch with these folks?
Oh yeah, I appreciate their work very much. Before we went, my mom told me about who would be meeting. We also met the authors of Skinamarink, which was really fun. We got to do the dance with them and the song. And yeah, it was fun.
That's
And
cool.
It is.
I I learned the dance before we went, and I also read A Dog and His Boy, and we listened to the audio of I'm So Proud of You, which is Craig Melvin's book.
Very good. So you're developing this own little network of young authors. You guys ever do like a giant Zoom call where you all talk and collaborate?
No, unfortunately, no. Everybody's busy these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe one day if you all schedule it, it'll work out.
Yeah.
Where else did you go after New York?
Well, we also went to New York. Back
Yes.
to New York. Wow. We went to Buffalo and we went to Washington, D.C. We went to Los Angeles. That was really fun.
Was it
I've,
still on
I,
fire?
it, when we left the morning, well, I was on the news early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
They were showing the wildfire starting on the news right before my segment, like minutes before my segment.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was really sad.
Yeah, it is.
And there was a Photoshop picture of the Hollywood sign burning, and it was, it was just, it was a truly tragic fire.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a couple weeks ago that you were in LA.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Well, it's good that I'm glad you guys made it out okay before all that started. Because I mean, we get hurricanes down here. You get freezes and snowstorms, but fire scares me more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes there's no stopping it.
And I remember watching those fires, and one thing that I thought, of course, I have empathy and sympathy for all those people that lost their homes and families, but I really did think about the dogs.
Or all the
me
animals.
too.
Yeah, all the
Me
animals out there.
too.
Yeah. I mean,
Me
there's a lot
too.
of
It's hard to sleep at night when you know that there might be a dog stuck in a burning attic or something, you know?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Or just all the animals out in the woods that, I mean, trying to
Yeah,
make it out, trying to get away from it. And where do you
yeah,
go? It's not like there's infinite amount of woods to run to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
There's a
mean,
lot of mountain lions out there and different animals out in the LA area. So
yeah,
it's
and
kinda scary.
that can just them trying to get out of the fires, going into the roads and
Mm-hmm.
going near human properties that haven't been burned. I mean, that's dangerous too for both the people and the animals. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Shelter Dogs is going to be your fourth book, and so this is you're a couple years into your literary career. How long does it take you from the inception of an idea to publish?
Well,
Obviously, it's not overnight because you said your next book's not going to be out for 10 to 12 months.
yeah,
I would have thought it was quicker than that.
yeah. Well,
What's the
y-
process?
well, we don't really have to find illustrators usually anymore because we have a very talented illustrator, and my mom owns a publishing house, so that lasts a little less time than it did in the beginning. But I think for my second book, it took around, wait, I think I had the idea in late February, and it was published around December actually. Yeah. So it takes a very long time. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that must be exciting having the being, I don't even know. You probably don't realize this, although I'm sure certain your parents do. That the experience you're getting in the real world is going to be put you so far ahead of your peers, and probably already is. Is that something you notice or are aware of? Or
I
are
don't
you
know.
just you just feel like a regular 11-year-old kid doing your thing?
I don't know. My school is amazing, but my peers aren't always the kindest to each other and to me, but I don't really put I don't really think of myself being better than any of my peers or anyone else, but I
I,
think
I,
I'm just normal.
yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't mean do you feel better or superior? Just do you
Oh,
feel like
yeah,
you're
I know.
getting more of a head start on life that you've had this kind of, I mean, because look at the experience. You're getting media experience, you're getting kind of business experience, you're getting
Hmm.
obviously your writing experience, and you're seeing places and things that other 11-year-olds most will never be able to do. And the heck, when I was 11, me and you were throwing rocks at each other. We're cousins. We grew up
We
together,
didn't
you
have
know?
anything better to do.
Yeah, we're throwing apples at the neighbor's garage, you know, and stuff like that. But I got to think as you get older, you're probably going to look back and say, wow, what a, it's part of your daily life now. But when you look back on this in 10 years or so, you're going to say, wow, you're going to realize you got a lot more out of this than you're thinking you might be. It's very cool.
Thank you. I'm glad that right now I have a good setting in life, but
That's
as long
awesome.
as I keep making a difference and keep trying to make a difference, I mean, if I don't, none of it would ever have even mattered. So,
Right, true.
yeah.
What's your vision of the Earth, the planet? How you'd like to see things?
Well, I think I might have mentioned earlier on that I am aware that livestock farming is the main cause of global warming. In my vision, all animals, including cows and chickens and all of the animals that we call livestock, they're not used for our everyday foods and things. Because if the whole world just automatically went vegetarian, and I'm not saying it will, because it won't, not everybody's going to agree with that, but we would still be healthy and happy. I
Hmm.
mean, there are plenty of things that give you protein that doesn't kill an animal. And there are plenty of things that you can eat that isn't a fish that's full of chemicals from a fish farm or something. I mean, it's not good for the fish. It's not good for you either.
Hmm.
So, my vision for the world is that animals aren't used for food at all.
Okay, that's a big vision. So I'm take it you're a vegetarian or vegan or
Trying currently, it's hard.
it is hard.
Yeah, I actually haven't eaten any meat since last Friday. So,
Very good.
yeah.
Awesome.
Can't tell the difference between normal chicken nuggets and vegetables in disguise.
But
Yeah,
we
I get
have a
that.
lot of nutritionists, and our whole podcast is in the health and wellness and spirituality kind of uh, genre, and uh, and we've had several guests that have been. I forget that. I think Ellen, who was here in the house, she had
Hmm.
been like a vegetarian,
40 years.
but she was even more strict than that, wasn't she? Was it?
Yeah, she's almost a fruitarian,
Yeah,
but she does eat greens and or
but
whatnot.
she was super hot. She's been healthy all her life. I mean, so you certainly can get enough nutritional value out of just being a vegetarian,
Hmm.
uh,
A plant-based diet.
a
Yeah.
plant-based diet.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of like the soy burgers though. I've tried them
No,
before.
soy's not good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plus it's not good for you anyway.
there's my mom when to we went to Europe, and we are huge fans of Burger King for some reason, but we are. So, yeah, only fast food that I will ever put in my mouth.
Hmm.
But anyway, when we went there, there were vegetarian burgers, and and almost everybody except for me tried them. I know, I know. I'm vegetarian now, but I wasn't that smart not too long ago. And they were like, "Are you?" My stepsister actually asked, "Are you sure you didn't order me the real burger? Because this tastes like burger." And she's like, and she looks at, and my mom looks at the wrapper of the order, and she's like, "This is vegetarian burger." So I guess there's really no difference between a burger and a vegetarian burger, taste wise.
Yeah, I've had a lot of different vegetarian burgers. I was a vegetarian for 20 years of my life and ate a lot of different vegetarian burgers, and they vary from, brand to brand, kind to kind. And I actually started making my own vegetarian burgers at one point, which were
That's
really
cool.
healthy and
Out of what?
a lot of beets.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you're purple beet burgers?
They were kind of purplish, yeah,
Are they
but they're
sweet?
no, they're delicious.
Because don't sweet beets have a high sugar content, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
A
Huh.
sugary burger. Sounds kind of like a pancake.
Yeah, you know it
It
does.
didn't taste like that though. I mean, you grill it on the
Yeah.
grill and it didn't taste sugary or sweet. Yeah,
But you can have a crappy burger, whether it be made out of beets or soy or any other
yeah, that's
compound,
true.
and you can
Yeah.
put enough ketchup, mayo, and
Ugh,
tomatoes and onions and lettuce and anything else on it to
Dressed
make
it
it
up.
taste good.
Yeah,
Toast a good brioche bun.
yeah.
I'm all over that.
Hmm. So, what's your message for other kids like you?
To never think that your story isn't long enough or good enough to tell.
That's a great message.
Thank you.
I like it. And you mentioned this publishing house. I think it's Little House of Dreams. Is that right?
Yeah,
And that's
my mom took
encouraging.
over.
Yeah, it's encouraging young authors like yourself, or giving them an outlet to publish their books. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any other young authors in your stable yet?
That are publishing through that Little
That
House of
are
Dreams.
publishing through that. Actually, my younger stepsisters published their books.
Oh, cool.
Nice. So you got like a family of authors.
Yeah,
That's
they
awesome.
don't write anymore, but I think their books are just amazingly beautiful and yeah.
Yeah.
What's more important to you, and who has like creative? Let me back up. Let's say you got your first book. You found this, you said a Bulgarian artist, illustrator.
Bulgaria.
So you find this Bulgarian illustrator, I'm guessing on the internet. She sends you back some stuff. Was there any? What was the reaction there? Okay, this is perfect, or I want some changes, or was it you? But who had the final okay on the artwork?
I think that I had the final okay on most of the art, but some things just weren't appropriate for the settings of the book, and so we just had to leave them.
Yeah. I imagine she gave you a lot of different illustrations, and you picked the ones you wanted for the book.
Oh, we went one by one. We were describing the picture basically through the words in the page, and every other page there was a picture. Mostly, she just figured out what to draw, and we loved it. But sometimes we kind of described to her.
That you wanted some changes.
Mm-hmm.
Was that hard for you to be dealing with an adult artist on the other side of the world who you never met before and say, hey, to have that assertiveness to say, hey, I really like what you got here, but I really want I want something different here. Was that difficult for you to kind of put yourself out like that, or did you just own it and say, no, this is what I want? Can you make this happen?
No, I've always just stayed true to what I want.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you're not afraid to speak your mind. It doesn't seem like you would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you're kind of outspoken and very confident.
Hmm.
And
Thank
don't
you.
ever care, never ever care what anyone thinks about it. Just be
Thank you.
yourself and just own it.
I think that's the lesson she's teaching us.
It is. Well, it took me a long time, probably 30. I was 30 until like kind of 30, 35 before I kind of realized that. So I try to
Yeah.
instill that on most younger people I meet, not to
Yeah, that
just be true to yourself and don't care what other people think. Just as long as you know what you're doing, what's right for you spiritually and mentally and physically, you're on the right track.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me when you say, stay true to what you want. It reminds me of an artist who made these ornaments for us. She
Can you
made
hold them a little
them,
higher?
yeah, like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, she made them completely on her own. No help at all. And there's actually 3 of them. I can show you the covers.
This is a child that's made them?
No, 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 not a
Okay.
child.
Okay.
I couldn't make these if I was like 35. But
Well, your skill is writing. Other people's skills can be creating ornaments.
yeah,
Yeah, very cool.
I love them so much. They're like my prized possessions. The artist actually helped us watch my brother on one of the occasions that we had to have him looked after while I was on my TV appearance. So
Hmm. Yeah, I imagine that's a lot to figure out for your family with all the
yeah,
traveling you've been doing.
her name was Lori. She's very talented.
Looks like it. So we're getting close to the end of the hour here. Any final thoughts or things you want to share?
Yeah. Being on all these podcasts, these episodes, it it just really makes me feel seen, and I thank everybody who invites me on these, or we ask to be on these podcasts and they say yes, and I just thank everybody who helps out.
That's pretty cool that you
Hmm.
went that route because I was telling a podcast guest the other day, before you even can really have it bring anything into your life, you just always have to be grateful for what you already have. And then other stuff will just come, especially if you can put that energy out into the world, which you obviously are doing. So it's it's encouraging for old guys like
Thank
us
you.
to see someone like you kind of with our same values. Because frankly, I mean, there's not a lot of kids that are like you that have this type of caring nature at such a young age. So that's a testament to your parents and
Hmm.
Thank
you
you.
Hmm.
and your siblings, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And that you want to do this work, I mean, and to make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fun for me now.
Well, that's good. You're an amazing young lady.
Thank you.
Well, so your podcast is called What's Up Young Authors.
Hmm.
So is that available on like all the big Apple, Spotify stuff like that? So
Yes, and if you can't find it there, I'm not a tech whiz either, so don't be scared if you can't find it, because I couldn't find things on Spotify or Apple or whatever for the life of me, but
I'll Google. You probably have the biggest Google presence of anyone in your class, though, right? If we Google your name, we're going to come up with your books and stuff, which is
probably.
that's
Yeah.
pretty
But
neat.
Different
but my
experiences.
website www.amelieanastasia.com, that has a link to my podcast, so that's probably the quickest way to find it.
Only Anastasia.
And
Oh,
are
your
Amelie
name, Amelie. I'm
Amelie.
sorry.
And
amelieanastasia.com. Yeah.
Right.
are you publishing to YouTube as well? Other videos?
I think so. Yes, I believe so. I
Okay.
I believe we're on YouTube now.
Well, I'm going to certainly check out your website later, and yeah, it's been cool. Really cool meeting you.
Thank
And
you.
a lot of our, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
Oh
A
no,
lot
it's
of our,
fine. Just yeah. Oh, sorry.
it's okay. Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so great to meet you guys.
Oh, absolutely. So, a lot of our listeners are older. A lot of them have grandkids, and some your age or younger. If they're interested in getting your book, where's the best place to go to get it?
Well, you can get it on Amazon.
Mhm.
If you live in the area, you can go to McLean Neacon, my first bookstore actually. And you can also go to Little Luxuries on Mackinac Island if you're not very local to Michigan.
Mhm.
And then you can and then you can get them off of my website, www.amelieanastasia.com. And I believe they're also being sold at the Covio Scenic Farm.
All right, very good.
That's awesome.
It is really awesome.
Thank
And I'm
you.
assuming part of the proceeds go to help out your causes or are being saved
Oh, yeah.
for your future projects.
Yeah, 60% of everything is going to the wildlife preserve right now.
The eventual wildlife preserve, right?
The eventual.
And if somebody wants to donate to that preserve, is there a link or a GoFundMe?
Yeah,
or
there's a
something
link on my website.
on your website. Okay,
Cool.
and we'll put that in the comments for you.
Yeah, hopefully we
Thank
can
you.
help you raise a few bucks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Amelie.
Amelie,
Thank
we
you
really
for
appreciate
having
your
me.
time. Yeah, we really appreciate your time and joining us on the show, and great work that you're doing. We're impressed.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Keep it up.
Thank your mom for us too for introducing
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's right here.
Oh,
Come on,
All
Mom.
right. Say hello.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Dr. Schaefer-Stedron, and we've done a couple podcasts.
I wish I could
with
hear
her.
you.
yeah,
You can
can't
catch
hear
those.
us.
Oh.
You're in her ear.
Yeah, you're in here.
Yeah.
Oops.
Uh-oh. Whoops.
Okay.
Well, tell your mom we said thanks.
They said thanks.
Our pleasure. I'm just tech support. I'll get out of the way.
Oh, you're fine. We're just
Love you,
wrapping
Mom.
up. All right. Thanks again. You take care, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So if you just listen to this podcast and you appreciate the content and the work that we're doing, we would love your support. Look in the comment section of this episode. Subscribe, rate us, comment. This gets our podcast in front of other listeners. And if you noticed, we don't have advertisers. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help keep it this way. Become a supporter right now. We'd appreciate it. I'm Jim the Yogi.
I'm Rick the Beachman.
Meantime,
Peace.